Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be a different headspace. Well, I've got an email here from a guy. He hasn't read the book yet. He says he's ordered it. It's on the way. He's only been following me for a couple of weeks. And he says he's watched, I don't know, a couple dozen videos of mine so far. But just what he's learned in the videos, he's got a recent success story of a successful seduction that he was able to enjoy with this woman that he's been after like for the past 2 months. And what I liked about his email and the reason why I chose it is because you could see that he watched some of the videos, he started backing off, and a lot of guys do this, and I really struggled with this when I was still trying to learn the fine balance between pursuing too much and not pursuing enough. And what makes these kinds of situations like the one that this guy is in is that he made a lot of mistakes. He pursued too much. So once you've done that and a woman has started to go from being attracted to you initially to pushing you away, potentially wanting to stick you in friend zone, or being really into you and thinking, wow, this is really a great guy and I should really be into him, but something's missing. It's like once you've caused a woman to feel that, once you've caused her to doubt your masculine core, you're gonna struggle. And like what I struggle, one of the women I wrote about in my book that was like the major paradigm shift, it took me 1.5 years of back and forth. And what I realized was that I started, she was pursuing me hard in the beginning. There was another guy in the picture that she was also had been dating long before me, so she had a lot of time in with this guy. They've been kind of dating on and off for a better part of 1 year at that point. Things were kind of on the outs with her and him. She started pursuing me hard. We started spending a bunch of time together. She was talking about the future and this magical thing that was happening between us. And then she started backing off. And as she started backing off, I started to pursue a little bit more. And then she'd get a little cold, a little unavailable. Then I would back off. And then she would start pursuing again. And then we would hang out. And then I would start to pursue a little bit more. And then she'd start to back off again. And it was just really hard to learn that fine line or that balance, and what made it really difficult, and this guy is experiencing the same thing with this woman, is he's already displayed a lot of weakness. And you'll see from his actions here that he backs off, but it's like as soon as she starts reaching out, then he starts pursuing more and chasing after her, which causes her to go from being hot and heavy and hooking up to, oh, I can't make it, I got this going on this week, and I got that going on, I'm busy. And so it's a really good illustrative example that I can go through and pinpoint where he's going right and where he's going wrong. Now keep in mind, this guy admits, he says, I'm a novice, I'm new to this stuff, but just from what I've applied so far, I finally was able to hook up and have this crazy sex with this girl I've been after for like two months. So I have a quote that I wrote on this topic, and then we're going to go through his email, because this is such an important part of really balancing. Like for me personally, growing up in an environment where there was no hugs, there's no I love yous, people that grow up in a healthy family where they get plenty of strokes as a kid, the guys naturally when the boys grow up to become men and the women grow up, obviously the little girls grow up to become women, they know what it's like, and they don't have to think about this, they can just act upon it. They have a healthy self-esteem. They feel comfortable giving and expressing affection, but they also don't come unglued and feel like somehow they're not loved when somebody happens to back away. It's like they're able to naturally behave properly in a relationship. But most people don't grow up in healthy families, and so you have to learn this balance on your own somehow. So the quote says, when you are dating and playing the field or in a relationship with a woman who seems to be backing away and losing enthusiasm for you, it's best to let her be, give her the gift of missing you, and get refocused on your purpose. Why? Women are like cats and tend to appreciate and value you more when they have some time away from you. Now this is interesting, having that time away. I actually had a girlfriend, and I wrote about this in my book at the time that I was talking about earlier, and also her mother was telling me this. You gotta stop trying to force things. You gotta let her come to you. You gotta give time. Her mother came right out and looked me right in the eye, and I remember this like it was yesterday. It was like 15, 16 years ago, And she said, you got to give time for those feelings to develop. And that was the first I'd ever really heard of it. Or I had my girlfriend, or she wasn't my official girlfriend yet, but I wanted her to be. And she was trying to help me and trying to communicate how to show up, how to not pursue too much, and how to have that balance. And her mother was telling me the same thing, that these feelings of attraction have to develop on her own. And when I read through this guy's email, it's like these same kinds of behaviors were exactly the same kinds of behaviors and actions that I was getting. I was getting inconsistent results at the time because I didn't understand that balance. But it's like once you get it, it's so powerful. And it makes it feel so easy, and it's natural. And you just naturally cause women, by behaving properly, to want to pursue you. It's not a game. It's not manipulation. When a woman feels safe and comfortable with you and she trusts your masculine core, she will do most of the calling, texting, and pursuing. Even when she says, I want a guy to pursue me. I want a guy that wines me, dines me, and buys me flowers. The key, when you hear that kind of crap from a woman, is to say, well, let's talk about the guys you've been most in love with in your life. The guys that maybe even today, you may have dated 10 years ago, that you still think about in a positive way, and you still like feel that animalistic attraction when you think back on those relationships. And you'll find that when the women describe what those guys were doing and saying when they were together, is usually the exact opposite of what they tell you that they want or what they think they want. And that's why it's so hard for the average guy to get good advice from a woman on how to court women properly, because most women just really don't understand it themselves. I have women telling me all the time they hate that I'm right, but it is the way that it is. But them reading my book really helps them understand why they're feeling such strong feelings of attraction for guys that a lot of times aren't good for them, and why they're getting turned off by other guys that seemingly have everything perfect that they would think that they want, but yet they're just not feeling it for them. Remember, it's a scientific fact that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear, and you're going to see that at play here in this email. And so back to the quote, men should never take this personally. In other words, let me read the previous statement. Women are like cats and tend to appreciate and value you more when they have some time away from you. Men should never take this personally any more than they should take it personally when Mother Nature suddenly changes from sunny and warm to cold and rainy. Women find men more attractive and sexually desirable who don't come unglued or fall apart when they're not around. A man's ability and strength to resist being diminished by a woman's absence is an aspect of masculine energy that is essential to creating and maintaining sexual attraction, interest, respect, value, and making her feel safe and comfortable with him as a leader of their relationship. So when a guy's ambiguous, when he acts like a masculine leader, like this girlfriend that I was describing, in the very beginning I was a masculine leader. And then when she started finding those chinks in my armor, started finding those weaknesses when I would overpursue at times, it caused her to not trust my masculine core and back away. And since I wasn't comfortable and balanced yet in my own masculine energy, sometimes I came off as being more feminine. Sometimes I came off as being masculine. And that's what caused her interest and her attraction to be kind of like a yo-yo, which is what you're going to see here with this guy. So he says, hey, Coach Corey, I sent you an email about a week ago about a certain older woman that I got attached to. I wanted to say that payday is in a few days and I'm buying your book because your principles so far, and I'm at a novice level, have proven true. How many times have you heard me say in videos, even if you think I'm full of crap, just apply the things that I teach. You will see that it works for you. And what's beautiful about it is that once you really get good at applying it, it's natural. It's acting in accordance with your natural masculine essence if you're a guy, or your natural feminine essence if you're a woman. I ended up seeing her at the bar we've always gone to, and she displayed a lot of signs of attraction, yet wouldn't come home with me that night. And you can notice his mindset is just one of pursuit. I got to convince her to come be with me. I got to prove myself to her. Because again, that's what societal conditioning teaches us. And so these things are like totally counterintuitive. It's the exact opposite of what we've all been taught and what you see in TV and movies all the time. A couple of days later, we ended up talking over the phone. More than likely, he probably called her. I expressed my feelings. He says, bad move. Yes, I know. It was just driving me crazy. So a guy's thinking, illusion of action. I got to do something. I got to tell her how much I like her and want her, because that's what I see in the movies. And if you ask a woman, they'll go, well, tell her how you feel. If you ask a girlfriend, friend of yours who's a female, she'll say, well, just tell her how you feel. So the guy goes and he tells her how he feels, thinking he's going to get some kind of resolution. And what happens? She becomes vague and ambiguous. Unsure, confused, she backs away. He says, I couldn't tell if she wanted me, and if she did, why she wasn't coming over. Well, because you would express weakness, and because you had turned her off. And because you called her instead of just letting her be. When a woman, dating is like a game of tennis. When you notice that the other person, whether you're a man or a woman, just doesn't seem to be treating you that well or valuing that much, that's when you just need to let it go and back off a little bit. It resets the polarity, it resets the power dynamic, and it causes the other person, if they're starting to take you for granted, to think, well, wait a minute, I haven't heard from them. Where are they? What are they doing? It's really negotiating. I'm happy to put a lot of effort, but you got to show me effort as well. And if you back off, I'm going to back off. If you show me that you don't value me very much, well, then you're going to get the gift of missing me. I'm a fucking catch, and you have to have that attitude. She was very clear with me over the phone that she's moving on, she's dating other people, she cares about me, but she needs to move on. And so in other words, in her mind, in her headspace, at that particular moment in time when he's pursuing her and calling her, she's feeling like, I got to get away. Remember, you got to love in such a way that the person you love feels free. And so in her mind, she's like, oh, I don't feel anything for this guy. The chemistry's not there. Something's missing. And so she, in essence, is friend-zoning him. But this was somebody who was initially very interested in him. But because he overpursued, she backed off. And I described this in detail, several examples in my own life when I was learning this and how I mastered it. He says, that's fair enough, but not what I was hoping for. Well, you don't get what you deserve in life or what you hope for. You only get what you negotiate. He says, at least there was closure. Again, he's trying to resolve it. Where do we stand? Why don't you want to date me? A man's not focused on. Man's job, just like I talked about in the book, is to create an opportunity for sex to happen. Hang out, have fun, and hook up. He's trying to lock her down to a commitment. She's just not in the emotional headspace where she wants to have a relationship yet. It usually takes about 2 months, about 7 weeks exactly, if you follow everything textbook. But obviously this guy hasn't even read the book yet. He says, then she messaged me on a Sunday, and she reached out and said, you didn't sound right the other day. Are you okay? So what does that tell me? He's thinking, all right, I got to close her. She's not into me. Fuck it. I'm moving on. And she could feel the shift in his energy. And after several days have gone by, and she can feel that he stopped moving forward. And the fact that she's saying, are you okay? She's trying, what she's really looking for is like, are you not interested in me anymore? Is there another woman? I mean, that's what she's fishing for. Because it went from, I'm not that, not that into this guy to, are you okay? What's really going on is just the fact that she's had a little bit of space and time away. She's saying, wait a minute, are you not into me anymore? This is how women are. They're very indirect. They're like detectives. Remember, it's a scientific fact that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. So his feelings are totally unclear. It's amazing when you're really into a girl and you ask her out and she's like, and then you just let it go. You're not focused on it. You're nice. You're friendly to her when you see her. You don't go out of your way to talk to her, though. She all of a sudden has to work to get your attention. It's just, it's so counterintuitive. It thinks, how would that doesn't make any sense. but it's masculine energy going your own way, so to speak. Remember, I live for myself and I answer to nobody. Dangerous masculinity, edgy charisma. Guys who march to the beat of their own drum. I remember today I was on my way to my chiropractor and for my network care appointment. And there was this really attractive woman on the back of this motorcycle. This guy was like all tattooed up. He had long hair. And he just looked like a bad boy on a motorcycle. And she was just all over him. That's dangerous masculinity. That's why she's so turned on by this guy. That's why she'd hop on the back of a motorcycle with no helmet and just cruise down the road with him. Because she feels safe and comfortable letting him be the leader. It's very attractive. Makes her all wet and excited. We talked and I said, I'm great. You told me everything I wanted to hear and it's clear to me now, so I'm good. She agreed and I told her, listen, I've got work I need to complete and I'll be busy until around 3 p.m. when I get back. Would you like to come to the bar and watch some of the football games? I would have said, well, hey, I got to run, but I'm going to be at the bar later watching some of the football games if you care to join me. That's the right way to say it. It's like saying, hey, this is where I'm going. This is my purpose. This is my mission. And if you'd like to come on my fun bus, great. If not, that's great too. Because the way he's phrasing it sounded like, okay, I'm going to put my life on hold and hopefully you'll want to come with me. No, it's, hey, I'm going here if you care to join me. In other words, you could take it or leave it. Because she reached out. She said, okay, that sounds great, but just as friends, no benefits. That's over. Now, I would have said, no, I'm sorry. If you're interested in just coming by as friends, then I'm going to pass on that. Because there might be a cute single girl there that I might meet. He says, like an idiot. I said, yeah, that's fine. So she's starting to feel something, and then she throws the friends thing at him. He goes, okay, I'll go along with that. Why? Because he really wants her. He's emotionally invested. It's hard for him to resist that urge. But she's not valuing what he offers her romantically. Therefore, she tries to stick him in friend zone, and he just caves like a big floppy cock. And so notice what happens because of that. I got back from what I had to do, went to the bar around 2:30, and said, hey, I got back a little early, but I'm here. So now he's pursuing again. Hey, Your Highness, I'm here. I would have said, hey, well, I'm going to be heading to the bar around 4 o'clock if you care to join me. And that would have been the last I've reached out. But instead, he's pursuing. He thinks he's not doing much. He thinks he's acting like he doesn't really care. But the bottom line is he's reaching out to her. It's subtle, but it's a night and day difference. The difference between being successful and getting laid and not getting laid. He says, I'll see you whenever you're ready. Sounds like I'm waiting on her. That's not what she wants to hear. She wants to hear that he's going to go do what he wants to do. She waited 2 hours and said, sorry, my aunt is coming over. I'm staying in. And he says, total bullshit, but actually it's what I expected. It was totally predictable that she was going to blow him off. But that's not the end of the story. He says, I never contacted her since that, but I've been watching a lot of your videos, and I went out to the bar a few days later. I believe I was watching your video about if a girl reached out on Sunday, she'll do it again either on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. On average, it really depends on her attraction level. The higher it is, the quicker she'll do it. The lower it is, the longer it's going to take. So he says, just wait. So at the bar, I was just sitting around and I decided to put up a Facebook status. It said, what you resist will always persist, and what you fear you will attract. A lot of my friends liked it. This girl saw it and by location knew what bar I was at. So she's trolling his Facebook. Now, why would she be trolling his Facebook? Because she cares, because she's interested. And again, he didn't reach out after she blew him off. Remember, she just acted like she didn't give a fuck. She reached it, and notice what happens next. He stops all forward movement, and so he says, she reached out to me and said, I'm in the area, how's the bar? In other words, are there any girls there? Are you with a girl? Remember, she goes from not caring, hey, let's friends only, to now caring what he's doing and who he's doing it with. So we met up and I did almost nothing. This was completely effortless, and she whispered, I'm coming to your place tonight and we're going to have a good time if you're okay with that. Night and day changed. Just like that. All because he stopped and he fucking backed off. I agreed, took her home, and we had the crazy sex I've been waiting from her for 2 months. See that? Complete, subtle fucking change in his approach, subtle change in his vibe, subtle change in his mindset, subtle change in what he says to her and how he says it. And look what it does. It goes from her being, to, I'm going to come over and fuck your brains out tonight, as long as you don't talk me out of it. That's what she was really telling him. So he says, during that night, she told me that she loved me. In other words, she goes from thinking friends only to, wow, I'm really feeling something for this guy. All because of the distance. Remember what my girlfriend's mother said. You got to give her time for those feelings to develop. That's all he did, was just give her some time and let it go. And act like he was moving on with his life, focusing on his purpose and his mission. That's all it took. And a woman will look at that and go, oh, we have chemistry. Whereas just days before, we have no chemistry, you're just a friend. She told me she's been on a lot of dates, but 0 of the guys were any good. And so you got all the other guys chasing, and now you went from chasing to not chasing. And everybody else is chasing her. This is how a woman makes a decision. Whoever's got the strength and the ability to resist her, like I talked about in the quote. Now listen, she's like, I feel attraction for you. She feels his strength, his ability to be okay without her. She said, why can't you just be my age? You're the one I want, but I can't have. He says, I felt pretty good about that. So intellectually, she says, you're not old enough for me, but yet she still fucks him. The next day, she sent me a text of a smiley face. I ignored that, and 3 hours later, I got a text, seriously? He says, I waited a bit. Just take your time. So the fact that she said seriously, what does that tell you? This girl's a little insecure. And so what you see is, as you apply this, you'll see this woman that you think so highly of, turns out she's just as insecure as you are, maybe a little bit more so. But because women have been learning this stuff since they were little girls, manipulating their fathers and their grandfathers and their uncles and all the other men in their lives, they're better at it. They can fake it a little better, if you will. They're better at the game. A little bit of change, and then boom, you see all of our cards. These are the kinds of things that make your confidence skyrocket. And the quality of the women you date continues to increase as well. I waited a little bit and said, hey, baby, I've had a busy day. What's wrong? She said, I have a fucking hickey on my neck. I told her I apologize. He says, I just got so passionate last night and couldn't help myself. I would have said, what? You got a hickey? How'd that happen? You gave it to me. Are you sure? Maybe it was some other guy. I don't remember. Well, why don't you come over and I'll give you one on the other side of your neck. Or maybe you come over and I'll try to make it into some kind of little red tattoo or something. I'll add to it. Then you can say, oh, it's a birthmark. Got to be humorous with it. Because look what he does. He guy's like, oh, I'm sorry. Let me buy you something. She told me she had a wedding to go to, and this thing sticks out like a sore thumb. So you say, that's awesome. Then when all your girlfriends go, well, who'd you get the hickey from? You can tell them about this fucking stud that you hooked up with the other night. It was crazy sex. Best sex you had in years. I told her that I shouldn't have done that and agreed to buy her a manicure pedicure to make up for that. She accepted. That's a bribe, dude. That's a beta male move. So you can see he's just kind of like, woo. He's like a big floppy cock here. She was happy that I did that, so I reached out, and now he's pursuing again. And because when a woman pushes you away, you don't do any more pursuing. She has to do 100% of it. And that was the difference. That was the thing that I had a hard time with. Is when you've over pursued a woman and she blows you off, you got to let it go. But once she starts reaching out to you, think about it. Do more of what's working. What does he do? He goes right back to the same unsuccessful over pursuing approach, illusion of action, because he thinks, oh, she reached out to me, now it's okay to pursue. It's not necessary at this point. just like I talk about in the book, you really only have to do it for the first 2 to 3 weeks. And especially in these cases where you've been blown off or pushed away or stuck in friend zone, the woman has to earn another chance with you. And you can see he's vacillating back and forth between not pursuing and then pursuing. He doesn't pursue, she fucks his brains out. He starts to pursue, he blows her off. She was happy that I did that, so I reached out and asked for a date to cook dinner and watch some football at my place. It's not her idea at this point. Now it's his idea. So what happens? She turned that down due to work with no counteroffer. It wasn't due to work, dude. It was due to low interest. Because you've turned her off with trying to bribe her with the pedicure and the manicure. You don't do those things. You can do those things every once in a while for your girlfriend or your wife, but not some chick you had sex with one time, dude, and that you've been after for several months. And turned off by being a beta male too much. As things have left off, there is no set date, but I told her to get back to me when she has free time. That is correct. That's the right response. Now you hit the ball over the net and you got to wait for her. There are a million more details that I left out with this email as long as it is. I just wanted to tell you that through your principles, so far you've been dead on point. Well, of course, dude, you can set your fucking watch to it. So when you follow what I teach properly, you're getting great results. You hooked up with her. But when you continue to pursue and you bullshit yourself into thinking that you're not pursuing, she blows you off and you get blue balls. And it's just you and Rosie and her 5 friends. I'm not an expert at this, and I would rate myself around a novice. See, he's honest. He is correctly, if maybe even a little bit underrating his ability. And that's important. You want to see things as they are, not better than they are or worse than they are, but pretty much as they are. The question for this woman continues and will be or the quest for this woman continues. That's the problem. You're thinking you got to have to do something to get her. But if you notice, when you did nothing, that's when she reached out. And she's already shown you she'll reach out and do all the pursuing. So let her do that. Stop trying to pursue. If you just let this woman come to you and make dates, you'd have been fucking her 2 or 3 times by now. The quest for this woman continues and will be interesting, but I'm just slowly starting to get it. I think after studying your book, yes, 10 to 15 times, things are going to click. Yes, they will. And I just wanted to say thanks for all your help. You turned my 2 months of pain into a success story, and I thank you for that. So think about that. Most guys in this situation are going to blow this, and they'll spend the rest of their lives thinking about this girl, the one that got away, if you will. Even if this guy never sees her again, never hooks up with her again, now he knows what it's like. He knows what it's like to make love to her. So it's no longer a fantasy. It's another experience, and it's another great memory. So either way, it's a fucking win. This guy watched a few videos, and look how he's improved his life. And once he gets the book, he fills in the rest of the knowledge gap, and he's able to just let this woman come to him. And within a matter of weeks, she'll be head over heels in love, wanting to be exclusive, and he'll be like, and he didn't do anything other than set dates, hang out, have fun, hook up, create an opportunity for sex to happen. Let women come to you at their own pace. It's much easier. Much easier. And I would also suggest that you should review 7 Principles to Get an Ex Back, especially if for anybody that's watching this that is in a similar kind of situation. Because he doesn't know the 7 Principles to Get an Ex Back either, and that would help him smooth things out so she's doing 100% of the calling, texting, pursuing. Plus, he should have some other women in his life so he can get better. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to go to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book whichever coaching option works best for you. And I will talk to you soon.